Hello, friends. Welcome or welcome back. If you couldn't tell by my get up, it is Halloween. Happy Halloween. It is Halloween, friends. And that means we are starting a Halloween reading vlog. If you have read this beautiful book right here, A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas, you can probably tell what I am. But if you have not, I am a Valkyrie. Not necessarily the Valkyrie from like Marvel or from mythology in general, but specifically a Valkyrie from the Court of Thorns and Roses universe. My husband said I look like a dominatrix elf ninja, which I guess I'll take too. Because it is Halloween, I wanted to try to read as many books as I could that take place on Halloween. I am actually recording this on Halloween, so I have actually already read all of these books, but I wanted to pop in and give you a little intro, let you know what you can look forward to and what I read this week. I did manage to read 3 books this week, which was fantastic. I first read The Haunted Forest Tour by Jeff Strand and James A. Moore. I also read Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesar. And lastly, I read Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. And it turns out that I did not do my research very well. Take a guess down in the comments how many of these books you actually think take place during Halloween, which was my whole idea for this video, was to find books that take place during Halloween. So hedge your bets. How many of these 3 books actually take place during Halloween? They all take place in October. So, I mean, there's that. And they all give very autumnal spooky vibes. So, I mean, I'm counting it as a win. I also participated in Reading Nymph's Relax and Readathon. She created this whole little game board for a 24-hour readathon, and it was so much fun. If you would like to know my thoughts on any of these books or just want to come hang out for a week, keep watching and let's get into the vlog. I'll shoot you back to about a week ago. Hello, friends. So I decided to start with The Haunted Forest Tour by James A. Moore and Jeff Strand. I'm about 50% of the way through and I am not having a fun time. I honestly almost didn't stop to update you at 50% because I just want to get through this. I want to power through so I can be done. I know you're probably thinking, Whitley, why not just stop reading it? Like, why not DNF it? And I hear you. I do. But, I've already started it. I've already made it this far. Like, I'm already 50% of the way through. So why not just finish it? And what if it gets better and I gave up on it too soon? How am I supposed to just stop and not find out how it ends? Even if it is terrible. Not that I would use the word terrible to describe this book per se, but I mean, I definitely wouldn't call it good. First and foremost, I do not like the writing style. It's very matter of fact. It's very dry. And dare I say, like, pretty amateurish. It's very, I don't know, like short and blunt. Like, he did this. She did that. He went home. His arm broke. Very like short and to the point, not descriptive. There are also multiple instances where it is very clear that the author is telling us how these characters feel, but we're not seeing it. We're not being shown it. So, I don't feel it. Speaking of the characters, every single one of them is so flat. There are literally no defining characteristics. Like, if the writing didn't consistently remind me of everybody's names and kind of what their roles are, we have like the one with the terrible job. We have the tour guide. We have the tram driver. Like, if I did not have those specifications, I would have no idea whose perspective we're in. We do jump around a lot into these different perspectives. It's told in third person, but we're still getting like the views from so many different people, but they are in no way definable. And I mean, we don't have to go into super depth. Like, even a novella, like, you don't have to give me their history. You do not have to give me backstory, but give me something. Give me a touch of personality. So now that I've ranted a little bit, let me actually get into, what this is about. We are following this group of tourists that are going to the haunted forest to go on this tour that they offer. They offer it, I don't know how often, but it's a regular thing. But they're having this special event for Halloween where they are going to go deeper into the forest than they have ever went before. And this haunted forest kind of just popped out of nowhere. And the owner of the land was like, oh, let me, capitalize on this. Let me build these trams so we can take tourists through and see these spectacular monsters, but, in a safe environment. And it makes me question, like, how in the world did these trams get built, these tracks get built, and no one died? It's very strange, very suspicious. But this company, the Haunted Forest Tour, takes these tourists into the woods to, show them the monsters, and so they can get a glimpse of this spectacular supernatural forest. This has been going on for 4 years now. So 4 years ago, these trees just started sprouting in this little town out of nowhere. They literally go from nothing to sprouting and towering above this city in seconds. I will say that that prologue, that short little chapter at the beginning describing the scene of these trees popping up out of nowhere and these monsters seemingly coming out of nowhere, and the panic, of everyone like trying to figure out what's happening and everyone trying to evacuate, that has probably been my favorite chapter so far. There were a couple of pretty cool death scenes, like one of the trees came up and literally like impaled somebody like through the chest because they grow literally in seconds. Another tree like took someone's head completely off. But the writing is just so hard to get past. Like, it is not descriptive at all. The tone is just so dry and very matter of fact. So as a little bit of an example, in that prologue, we are following a cop, and he is, in his car with a passenger, and he is transporting them out of town, trying to get to safety. A tree grows right under his car and flips it, and the writing is pretty much just like the tree grew and his car flipped and the passenger landed on top of him and his arm broke and he screamed. And I am paraphrasing. It may not be quite that curt, but it really feels like it a lot of the time. And we are now 4 years later during the Halloween spectacular, where this supposedly fail-safe tram has transported these tourists into the forest, and it has completely broke down. Our tourists are stranded and fighting for their lives against very vaguely described monsters. Like I mentioned, we do get a lot of perspective changes, so we are also seeing some of the scientists and the workers that are not in the forest, that are back at home base trying to, figure out what is happening and how to fix the situation. And since there are like so many safety protocols in place, they are starting to question, like, was this sabotage? Like, how could this have possibly happened? So I am mildly interested to kind of see like what caused this failure and to see if something bigger is going on. But, just barely. I am barely interested. And I wasn't expecting a lot going into this. When I put this on my TBR, I kind of was just expecting, some fun, gory death scenes, some maybe spooky atmosphere, some cool monsters. But I have gotten absolutely none of that. There is no atmosphere, very little description, and the writing is just, I don't want to say bad, but I do not like it at all. Like, it has me internally like rolling my eyes at least once a chapter. Like, not only is it feeling very amateurish, but it's also just like the tone is so cringeworthy to me. Like, I am cringing. I'll give you a couple of examples. So this is a direct quote. Someone says, shit, double shit, triple shit to the 12th power. I don't know why that bothered me so much, but I hated that line. Like, nobody talks like that. Another direct quote is, she'd been standing next to him the whole time, and not once had he thought about her breasts. This was a bad, bad situation. On that note, some of these men are so unnecessarily horned up. The character that said that quote is constantly thinking about cheating on his wife with his coworker. He is just like nonstop objectifying this woman in his head. But then he's also like, oh, but I would never, because I'm married. The old ball and chain, stopping me from having all my fun. Hello. So Editing Whitley here. I do not know what happened to the rest of this update. So I'm here to pop in and tell you what I already told before, but the footage has been lost to the ether. So I was speaking about these so unnecessarily horned up dudes in the Haunted Forest Tour. This one guy was just constantly objectifying his coworker. He even goes so far as to call her the love of his life, but then he follows that up immediately with, "Oh, except for my wife, of course, who I would never cheat on." This guy is really just disgusting and annoying. And then there's another guy who's actually in the forest because this previous guy that I was speaking of is one of the scientists that are uh, working to try to find out what went wrong and how to fix it. So there's this guy in the forest as well, and he's thinking about trying to make a move on one of the other tourists that he's like trapped in the forest with. And they're literally like fighting for their life, but he thinks, "Oh, I wonder if I have a shot with her." And then he immediately thinks, she probably doesn't put out on the first date. Like, what? I really should just DNF it, but even though I don't really care, I have to see how it's going to end, where it's going to go. And maybe I'm a little bit of a masochist, who knows, but I have to push through. I think that might be one of my New Year's resolutions in the new year. I think maybe I need to allow myself to DNF books. I don't know, it's just so hard because once I start something, like I want to finish it, I want to see it through. I'm the same way with series. Like I struggle with if I read the first book in a series and I'm not like a huge fan of it, I feel like I still have to finish the series, which is why I kind of stay away from series. I do read a lot of standalones because I know myself and I know that if I start a series that 9 times out of 10, whether I enjoy it or not, I'm probably going to finish it. I don't know why that is. I don't know what's wrong with me because if I don't care, why do I need to finish it? But maybe in the new year, I will actually start DNFing books. But today is not that day. I will trek through. I will persevere. I will finish this and let you know if it gets better or not. I am reading this so you don't have to. You're welcome. Hello, friends. It is the next day, and I have finished the Haunted Forest tour. Hallelujah. I really should have DNF'd this book. I think during the last update, I knew that, you knew that, but here we are. I'm honestly not sure I can think of a single positive thing to say, and that's rare. And I truly feel terrible saying that, honestly, because, two somebodies actually, assumedly put a lot of work and effort and time into creating this out of nothing. But it was just bad. I will say the ideas, the premise was good. Like it drew me in. Obviously, I wanted to read it because I added it to my TBR. So the synopsis, the ideas behind this were good ones. But the execution was just truly terrible, in my opinion. Everything I said in my previous update remained true. Everything still stands. Nothing got better. They tried to add this like magical aspect to the logic of kind of where this force came from and why it was there. And of course, how to stop it and get rid of it to stop it from spreading all over the world. Again, all solid ideas, but just so poorly done. I hated the dialogue in this book. It was so clunky. It did not feel real at all. Like nobody talks like this. We did have this like big bad demon. So cringy, especially his dialogue. Like he told one of the characters, "I'm going to make you eat your own eyeballs, but I'm not going to cook them. I'm not going to season them. You're going to eat them raw and bland and you will not enjoy it." Like, my guy, that is not why he's not going to enjoy eating his own eyeballs. That is not the problem. He just felt like the worst stereotypical, big bad honcho villain. And it was bad. There were just so many small things that annoyed me that just kept piling up and piling up until I just had this massive stack of shit in front of me. And that is really how I felt about this book, unfortunately. And I honestly just I feel like such a bully. I feel like I'm being so mean, but I've got to be honest. I kind of hated this book. I felt absolutely nothing but annoyance and excitement for it to be over. And I'm sorry if that wasn't fun to listen to. I just had to rant I did not enjoy myself, but I'm going to stop shitting on this book and we are going to move on. What a way to kick off the vlog, am I right? I mean, it is time for trick-or-treating. And I just happened to, start my week with a little bit of a trick. But good news, it can only go up from here because I am giving this 1 star, if that was not obvious. I could not find any redeemable qualities about it, so it's going to be a 1 from me. On a brighter note, I forgot to show you my Halloween Horror Nights t-shirt. If you did not see last week's vlog, I went to Halloween Horror Nights and it was absolutely exhausting, but so much fun. And I got a t-shirt. Of course, I got a t-shirt. I also collect enamel pins. I could not believe that they don't sell enamel pins. They did have like a Mel's Drive-In, which they turn into Mel's Die-In for Halloween Horror Nights, but they didn't have an actual like Halloween Horror Nights like logo enamel pin. And I was so sad. I got some buttons for each of the scare zones, which was pretty cool, but I was really sad that they didn't have a Halloween Horror Nights enamel pin. But I got this cool t-shirt. So there is, Universal's Halloween Horror Nights on the front, and then on the back is all of the houses. Let me show you. We have our gargoyle here, who is like our mascot, and then we have all of the houses. I love it. So yeah, great news. I got a cool t-shirt. Not great news. The first book of the vlog was no bueno. I think the next book that I'm going to start is Clown in a Cornfield, which I haven't heard super great things about either, but it has got to be better than what I just read. And I am excited for it. Even if it's not like super spectacular, I'm here for a fun, silly, goofy Halloween time. And I'm really hoping that's what we're going to get with Clown in a Cornfield. Plus, after I read it, I can watch the movie. Super exciting. So that is going to be my next plan of action. I plan on starting that tonight while I am making dinner and then a little bit before bed. I do have it on audio, but I also have it on an ebook, which love. So I can, listen to it while I read it, or if I don't feel like listening to it, I can just, pop up the ebook. So I plan on starting that tonight, and I will check back with you when I make it a little bit of the way through that one, hopefully with a more positive update. Hello friends. So I did decide to start Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesar last night, and I managed to get about 100 pages in, and I am enjoying it so far. This is honestly like such a breath of fresh air after my last book. Not that it's like the best, most fabulous thing I've ever read before, but like we have description, we have personality. I am able to visualize what I am reading, which I could say none of those things about my previous book. So I am having a great time. I'm really enjoying the vibe so far. I'm liking the writing. It is definitely giving that like teen slasher movie feel. It is a little bit over the top, but it's such a fun time. We have mostly just gotten a lot of setup and world building so far. The prologue went into kind of the events that have set off the decline of this town. It seems like a year ago at a high school party, a young girl died. I mean, who would have guessed that partying and underage drinking at a reservoir would have led to disaster? It has been a year since this accident, and we are now mostly following Quinn, who is just moving to this small town in Missouri called Kettle Springs. After her mom passes away, her and her dad are really looking for a fresh start, so they pick up and move to our little town in Missouri. She kind of accidentally falls into the it crowd, our cliched group of friends. The stereotypical quarterback, the supposed leader of this group is the one who lost his sister a year ago, and something seems to have really split this town when that happened. Like his dad went into hiding. They haven't seen him in this year, and I guess he provided a lot of the business in this town. I don't really have a lot of information, but I know that this family is super important to this town. There are a lot of offhanded comments that I'm not really understanding yet. I'm assuming that they're referencing events that we are not privy to yet. I'm a little confused, especially why every single adult in this town seems to despise these teenagers. It's like every single one of them is like a crotchety old man screaming at these teenagers to get off their lawn, but their lawn is the entire town. There are these secretive town meetings, and there's this sheriff that kind of runs the town that's starting to feel a little bit like a cult leader. There are some other things that have been like pointed out that are definitely making me suspicious of this town. I'm not sure where it's going to go, but I'm intrigued to find out. So on one side of this war, we have like the adults, and then on the other side we have our teenagers who are trying to like stick it to the man, and they make these like prank YouTube videos and really just cause a lot of mischief throughout town. And although they are like definitely stereotypical, each one of them have a very distinct personality. I'm not gonna lie, I am like semi-attached to them, so I really don't want like any of them to die, except for the ones that, we're supposed to kind of not like. I wouldn't mind them dying, but I'm kind of attached to these characters. And as ready as I am to have the action start and have the, slashing start, I don't want anyone to die. And finally, kind of in the background of the story so far, honestly, is this town mascot named Friendo the Clown. Cole has mentioned that like his grandfather or his great-great-grandfather or something created Friendo. So I'm feeling that maybe Cole's family is like the founding family of this town. Again, there's still a lot that I don't know yet. I'm hopeful that the lore will kind of get expanded the further I go, but I am enjoying like putting all of these pieces together and just kind of learning about this town so far. There has not been any action yet, but I am so ready for it. Again, it's going to be sad because I'm sure that some of our, group of friends is going to meet a brutal end, but I am ready for it. Even though, like I said, we have not gotten a lot of information on Friendo, so I'm not sure like where he's going to come from or how or even why, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the slashing to begin. I am also questioning whether I have lied to you or not. So I do know that this takes place in October, but unless some time moves pretty quickly, I'm not sure this takes place on Halloween. I don't know why I thought it did, but I may have lied to you. So I'm really hoping that we do get to Halloween to kind of fit the vibes of the week. But if not, it's still giving that like autumnal time, and it's a slasher. So it's obviously giving Halloween. I was just looking for books specifically that took place on Halloween, but I started it, I'm reading it, so we're going to talk about it anyway. But I just want to let you know that I may have lied to you. But that's okay. I am sorry, but it's okay. And hey, maybe not. We'll keep reading and find out. I, of course, have to do my boring nightly responsibilities. I have to do some laundry. I need to go do my workout, and then I'm going to make dinner. But after that, I have no plans but to sit down and read this book. I'm hopeful I'll get a good chunk of it done tonight, and then hopefully finish it up tomorrow morning. Good morning, friends. Happy Saturday. I wanted to pop in this morning to give you a little bit of an update on Clown in a Cornfield. I did get quite a lot read yesterday. I am now 65% of the way through. I believe I'm on page 207 on my e-reader, and it has been nonstop action since I last spoke to you, and I am having so much fun with this one. Although a really sweet character was the first to die, so kind of sad about that. I am absolutely loving the 80s horror slasher vibes. The atmosphere of being in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by all of these cornfields and farmland, it is so spooky. Add in the fact that there is a literal killer clown with a crossbow hunting down teenagers, and it is downright terrifying. Not that it's actually scaring me, but I'm just thinking that this would make such a fun haunted attraction. I've always wanted to go to a haunted corn maze where there's scare actors popping out at you while you're walking through this corn maze. That just sounds so scary, but so much fun. And that is what this is giving me. Thinking about being in a situation like this is absolutely terrifying, but it is so much fun to read. And I am actually surprised at how gruesome some of these kills have been described, with this being a young adult novel. A couple of these kills have been, pretty detailed and on the verge of body horror, which I absolutely love to see. I am pleasantly surprised. There's also this really interesting mystery that is emerging. Some of the suspicions that I had towards the beginning are really starting to come into play. Not that I have any idea what it means yet. We don't have any of the whys, but I am so intrigued about this mystery and what is going on in this freaking town. I'm not even sure if this friendo the killer clown is someone in a costume or if it's something supernatural, but I'm having so much fun reading it. I am really excited to get back into it today. Today is also Reading Nymph's 24-hour Relax and Read-athon. I've never participated before, so I'm so excited to participate this month. She makes an adorable little board game that we get to kind of make our way around, and I'm going to be letting the prompts on that board decide how I spend my day today. There are a few things that I have to get done today, but other than filming my November TBR and doing some household chores, I really have no plans today. Each square on this board has a prompt, but there are a lot of non-reading prompts. This readathon really is focused on kind of self-care and relaxation. So I am hopeful that I will get back into Clown in a Cornfield today. So let us kick off this Relax and Readathon and see where the board and the day takes us. I knew exactly where I was going to start. I had to put my little chameleon on the favorite beverage square because I had to start my day with my coffee, of course. And isn't this just the most adorable cup you've ever seen? It says coffee with scream and sugar. I love it so much. And our first roll, we got a 2, and I decided to go to Discord vote. So I put a poll up on the Relax and Readathon Discord channel and asked them to decide my first activity for the day. I gave them 3 options. We could update my reading journal, which I really need to do. I'm so behind. The second option was continue my current read. And then the third option was to have a morning yoga session. I absolutely love a good yoga session, and I am happy to say that that is what they have chosen for me to do. So I'm going to get off here, get into my yoga clothes, and do a little morning yoga session, get some stretching in to start my day. I'm so happy. Hello friends, welcome back. I have done my stretching. It was so nice. It was much needed. Appreciate the Discord for voting for my wellness. I've gotten a few things accomplished since we last spoke. I got some laundry done. I did a load of dishes, made some lunch, got in the shower, did some filming, but now I am back to do our next roll. We last landed on Discord vote and I rolled a 3. So we could either go monster or we could do trick or treat. And I decided to play the odds and go for trick or treat. So how trick or treat works is I'm going to choose 2 books, one that I really want to pick up and one that I don't so much want to pick up. And what I'm going to do is do my current read, which is Clown in a Cornfield, as the one that I really want to continue, obviously. And then on the other side, I'm going to do We All Rot Eventually by Mia Ballard, which is something that I do plan on picking up in the next week or so, but I really don't want to start it. I really want to continue Clown in a Cornfield. So I am going to say heads for Clown in a Cornfield and tails for We All Rot Eventually. Let's see what we get. I just realized I didn't have a coin, so I had to go get a coin. So we are ready. I am ready to sit down, chill out, and do some reading. So let's see what I'm going to pick up. Heads for Clown in a Cornfield, tails for We All Rot Eventually. I'm scared. Hey, it's heads. Let's go. So I'm going to be continuing Clown in a Cornfield. I'm going to go ahead and roll again, just in case we get a non-book related prompt that I can kind of pair up with my reading session. So let's roll again, shall we? Let's see what our next roll is going to get us. A 3. Okay, so I am definitely having a fall treat, of course. Okay, so I have my fall treat snack. It's not a baked good, but it is pumpkin spice popcorn that is to die for. So this is going to be my little fall treat. And then I also have my Clown in a Cornfield that we are going to sit and enjoy and read some more of. I am so intrigued to see what is going on. I have a feeling that the clown that we're seeing right now isn't supernatural, but I feel like we might get a supernatural clown later. But I have no idea, but I'm so intrigued. I'm excited to get back into this, so let's get some reading done. Good Sunday morning, friends. I ended up spending the rest of my evening just reading and hanging out with Sydney. We had some dinner, we played some Mario Kart, and just hung out. Loved. Such a good time. I did finish Clown in a Cornfield, and what a wild ride. I really did enjoy this one. It was absolutely nonstop action after the first 100 pages. I really appreciated the gruesomeness and body horror. For a young adult novel, this went there. I was pleasantly surprised at how graphic some of this got. I feel like the violent descriptions really pushed the boundaries of young adult, bordering into adult, which I absolutely loved. And my jaw was on the floor at some of these reveals. There were so many good twists. This also really got into some social commentary that I was not expecting, but definitely appreciated. It really spoke on the hatred and judgment some of the older generation have towards the younger generation. I really enjoyed the writing. I thought it was great. The atmosphere, you could really feel being in this cornfield on this farm, and you could smell the smells and you could hear the sounds. I thought it was really well done. I did find it a little weird that Quinn was so adamantly against guns, but then as soon as she gets one in her hand, she is like, this is my gun. No one is taking my gun away from me. Granted, she is scared and this gun is her only protection, but I don't know. I just found it a little weird that she was so adamant against these guns, but then she becomes so possessive over the one that she has. I'm also still not 100% sure why these adults so vehemently despise these teenagers. Even the ones that didn't have anything to do with this factory shutting down, which is why they're upset in the first place. It seems like they are not discriminating. Like if you were within a certain age bracket, like you gotta go. And if I'm understanding things correctly, I'm hoping that after watching the movie, some of this will be cleared up. I am excited to watch the movie. But I'm thinking that if I'm understanding correctly, the adults in the town seem to really like despise Cole because they blame him for the death of his sister, which led to the factory being shut down because his dad just couldn't cope after the loss of both his wife and his daughter. So their main money-making business has shut down and is like on the verge of bankrupting the town. But if I don't like dig deeper into it and kind of like question the why, this was like such a great book. It was like confusing me a little bit, but I think I get it. I think I understand. Even so, I overall really enjoyed this one. It felt like such a classic nostalgic teen slasher movie, which I ate up. I'm going to give this 4 stars. I had such a great time with it and I had so much fun reading it. Side note, also, turns out it definitely does not take place during Halloween. There was even a line where this guy was like, why are you wearing this clown costume? Like, it's not Halloween, my guy. It does take place in October, but we don't actually make it to Halloween. But honestly, I think it is such a good read for the Halloween time anyway, so I'm happy about it. October, Halloween, close enough. I also did not get to participate as much as I would have liked in the Relax and Readathon yesterday because filming my TBR took so long. It's so time consuming. So that took up a lot more time than I was wanting it to. So I didn't get to participate as much as I wanted. So we are going to continue today. I did go ahead and roll first thing this morning to see what I was going to get. And we got a free space. So exciting, which is pretty much just do whatever you want. So Sydney and I had to run an errand this morning, so we went out and we got some breakfast and I got a pumpkin spice latte. It was so good. So for the free space, I decided to treat myself. But now that I have finished Clown in a Cornfield, I need a new book. I'm debating Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. It's about these like 2 boys that visit this carnival that pops up out of nowhere on Halloween night. And it is a classic, I believe. I think it was like published in the 60s, so that makes me a little nervous, but Ray Bradbury seems to be such a beloved author, like especially during this time of year. The other one that I'm debating on is a novella, so I am kind of leaning towards that just because it's only like a 4.5-hour audiobook, so I can get through that pretty quickly. I don't know a lot about it other than there is this, I think it's a scarecrow that is called the October Boy, and it like comes to life every Halloween. The cover just looks so cute and it looks a little spooky, definitely a autumnal, so I am interested in that as well. So I figured let the rolls decide which book I'm going to pick up next. Okay, so our little guy left off on free space. Let's see where we're going to go next. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move 3 spaces. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Dark cover. Which one has a darker cover? Let's find out. Okay, so Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury has so many covers. So many covers. I'm assuming because it is a classic, it has been reprinted a lot, but there are multiple covers that are mostly black. And if we're looking for a dark cover, I mean, what gets darker than black? But, I mean, Dark Harvest also has the word dark, and it does kind of look like from the cover that it was shot at night or at least during sunset. And although there may not be a lot of like dark colors, they're definitely not bright. So I feel like either one of these could definitely fit in the dark cover category. So which one do I want? Okay, so there are so many covers for Something Wicked This Way Comes, but since multiple of the versions that I have seen are like 90% black, I feel like if I am going for the true, dark cover, that I have to go with Something Wicked This Way Comes. Yay! I'm excited. So I do have some editing to do today that will take up a good chunk of my time. I'm probably going to work on editing for a couple of hours, and then as my reward, my carrot on the stick at the end of my editing session, I will have this book ready for me to sit back and relax and start. So I'm going to go get some work done, and I will check back with you when I've gotten a little bit of the way into my book. Hello, friends. Happy Monday. Editing took so long, so much of my day yesterday. We did have to run some errands, but I also just spent hours on my computer yesterday. I just need to make sure that I'm like keeping a healthy balance. Like this is a hobby. I need to not treat it as like a second job because I don't want it to become like work, even though it is work, but it's for my hobby. Like it's something that I enjoy, and I don't want it to become something that I don't enjoy anymore. And it's so hard, not to like compare yourself to other people that you see on YouTube, but it's just a little bit of a struggle with having a full-time job. I mean, I know that other people on YouTube that do, booktube channels, I'm sure also have full-time jobs. It's just a lot. I'm really enjoying my time doing this, but it is so time consuming. And I just need to be careful that I don't let other important things fall to the wayside. Like if I don't put out a video every week, it is not the end of the world. No one is like making me hold this schedule but myself. I don't know. If you also, are a small creator, let me know kind of how you cope. What are some strategies that you employ to maybe try to like pick up the pace in editing or filming? And I'm enjoying it so much. It's just a lot to juggle. So that's just what's been on my mind today. But I am happy to say that even though I did edit a lot yesterday and I'm still not done, I'm going to have to be editing after work every day this week to try to get both the videos up that I want to get up. I usually try to get all of my editing done during the weekends so I can just like do my vlogging during the week after work. But I'm going to have to try to do both editing and, updating the vlog during the week. So we'll see how that goes. And if this vlog doesn't get up when I want it to, that's okay. It can be late. That's okay. Another side note, please do not mind my bangs. I so desperately need a haircut. I am stopping after work tomorrow to get my bangs trimmed. I love my bangs so much. I've had them for years and I don't know if I could ever picture myself without bangs, but they grow so fast and they're such a nuisance when they get to this length. And I am too much of a scaredy cat to cut them myself. I have done that so many times, and 8 times out of 10, I regret it. So I leave it to the professionals. So we're just gonna have to let it be what it's gonna be tonight. I have gotten all of my nightly responsibilities out of the way. I did my workout. Oh my gosh, it kicked my butt today. It has been a while since I worked like my arms and my core. I've been doing a lot of cardio and I felt it today. It felt good, but it was hard. Sydney and I had some dinner and watched some YouTube, which is our nightly routine. I love it. And now I am here to update you because I did, even though I had to spend so much time on the computer yesterday and we did have some errands to run, I did manage to start Something Wicked This Way Comes. I also listened to quite a bit of it this morning getting ready and to and from work. I'm about 30% of the way through. In this, we follow 2 young boys. They are both 13, about to turn 14. First, we have Jim. He is the more like outgoing. I would say he's always ready for an adventure. He's kind of the leader of the duo. And then we have his best friend, Will, who is kind of more shy, but also more level-headed, I would say. But he is always willing to follow Jim into anything. And one night, the circus comes to town. It is a week before Halloween. It is a week before their birthdays. They spend a seemingly normal day there, riding rides, eating food, all the good carnival things. But then when the park is getting ready to close, they see that there is this broken down carousel. And Will, of course, being the adventurous one, has to check it out. He's super curious, like, why is it broken? We have to check it out. And this is where we meet our super creepy ringleader, Mr. Dark. Hello again. Editing future Whitley again. I have no idea what happened to some of the clips in this video, but we are here persevering, filling in the gaps. So I was telling you about Mr. Dark. So he kind of lures Jim and Will in with this magic trick, and he's talking to Jim for a few, but after kind of trying to lure Jim in because I feel like he knows that Jim is the one that is more tempted by the carousel's magic. He does kind of focus his attention on Jim. But after speaking with Jim for a few minutes, he sends the boys on their way. But of course, instead of leaving, Jim says that they have to find a hiding spot to kind of spy on Mr. Dark and see what is going on with this carousel. So they hide up in a tree and they witness the magic, the miracle that this carousel performs. And again, Jim seems to be very tempted, very drawn in by this carousel and this circus, but Will is trying his best to kind of keep Jim safe and to keep his head out of the clouds. I'm liking their friendship a lot. Their opposite dynamics really lend well to each other, but unfortunately, I am not jiving with the writing style. I don't know if it's because it's a classic or if this is just, how Bradbury writes his prose, but it just feels so unnecessarily intricate describing these like mundane scenes, so much so that I'm actually struggling to like visualize and understand what is happening in the scenes and what he is describing. I just find myself confused a lot of the times because I am not understanding what this man is trying to tell me. I know I was complaining about the Haunted Forest tour and how the writing was so non-descriptive and so dry and so blunt, but this feels like that was on one side of the spectrum and this is on the complete opposite side, like too much to the other side. And I usually love a like descriptive, flowery, poetic writing style, but I am just not understanding. I don't know if it's the words he is using or how he's using them, putting them together. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I am not picking up what he is putting down. But when I am able to kind of comprehend what the writing is saying, I am really liking it. I like the characters. I'm liking the plot so far. I'm really intrigued to see what is going to happen with Jim and Will and kind of how they are going to deal with this circus, whether they are going to get sucked up into it or fight against it. Also, Sydney and I did watch the movie adaptation of Clown in a Cornfield, and it was so much fun. A surprise to no one, I did like the book better, but I did like some of the things that they added and how they did a lot of the scenes. I thought was well done. Some of the action and the kill scenes felt a little like amateurish, but I'm not sure if they were doing that on purpose to kind of add to the campiness of the film, which I feel like they did a really good job of, even though it is set in like modern times. Even one of the characters in the movie mentioned how this felt like an 80s slasher movie. I did, have a couple complaints, have a couple issues that I found with it, but you're also talking to someone who wishes that every adaptation could be like a chapter by chapter, just live visualization of the book. Like, I don't want anything changed, but that obviously is too much to ask for with changing a 350-page book into an hour and a half to 2 hour movie. Like, I know that's not feasible, but that is what I want. So obviously I did have some issues with it, but overall it was a really fun watch. Hello friends, happy Tuesday. I stopped and got my hair cut today. It so desperately needed it. It's so much nicer now. I can actually see. The only thing that kept me from being able to see at work today was that I wear blue light glasses. So my bangs went like over my glasses. If not for that, I would have been like squinting all day, or I would have had to rock a curtain bang, which is fine, but not my preference. I just got home from work and from getting my hair cut, and I wanted to pop in and update you because I did get a good chunk read last night and this morning of Something Wicked This Way Comes. I did have to stop in the middle of a chapter when I got to work this morning, which is unfortunate, but I am in the middle of chapter 39. I'm about 70% of the way through, and I just really wish that I was liking the writing more than I am. Because if it wasn't for the writing, like this has the potential to be a 5-star. Like the story and the plot is so good. It's dark, it's fantastical, it's tense. It really is excellent, but I cannot get down with this writing. Where we're at in the story right now, our two boys, Jim and Will, have seen too much. So the ringleader is currently after them, so they are in hiding. Not that anyone would believe them anyway. I mean, I know if two children came up to me and said that they've seen some of the things that they've seen, I wouldn't believe them. But someone actually does. Will's dad is kind of helping them out. And now they're all three kind of working together, trying to take down this circus, or at the very least, trying to keep Jim and Will out of the clutches of the evil ringmaster. I am actually really loving Will's dad's character. I'm terrible with names, but I think his name is Charlie. His and his son's relationship is really precious, and their late night heart to heart was so relatable and so cute. I really enjoyed that whole chapter. Since I am obviously closer, I actually don't know if I'm closer to the age, but I do relate more to the father's perspective than I do of our young boys who are 13. The father is in his early 50s, so I might fall like right in the middle, but I do appreciate the father's perspective. And I always like to see an older parent with kind of like a younger child because, it reminds me that it's never too late to start a new chapter in your life. I'm really appreciating that we're getting both ends of this spectrum of kind of what the big theme of this book I think is, which is surrounding time and aging and wanting something that you can't have. But the biggest conundrum around that is you have to be careful what you wish for. These kids are yearning to grow up, and these adults are wishing that they could turn back time. But of course, like, grass isn't always greener on the other side, and you have to be careful what you wish for. And that is really kind of the big theme of this book, which I'm really enjoying. I'm liking the conversations that Will and his dad are having about good and evil. Again, I'm just struggling with the writing style. I'm still not quite sure if it's because it is technically a classic. I mean, I don't know if the people from the 60s, I don't feel like they talked that much different than we do now. So I really feel like it's just Ray Bradbury's prose. Some of the metaphors that he has used has literally made me think like, what does that even mean? Like, what are you talking about? I don't know. It's like really descriptive, which I usually really enjoy, but his descriptions are really hard for me to follow and picture. I'll try to find some non spoilery examples when I check back in with you next. The next update, I will have finished this. So I'll try to find some non spoilery examples of what I'm talking about because literally some of the things that he says, I'm like, I do not understand what you were trying to tell me. Like, how does a smell have a color? I get that a lot of people, like, that is something that a lot of people have and experience, but that's just the first example that I could think of. There are more, like, oddly specific correlations that he makes between, like, objects and feelings and, I don't know, his metaphors. Maybe I'm just not smart enough to understand and they're going over my head, but it's really hard for me to picture this scenery with the way that he is writing this book. Honestly, in my opinion, it's overwritten, to put it simply. I even tried to download the ebook to my e-reader to see if maybe I sat down with it physically, if it would help, but reading the words with my eyeballs did not help. So I don't know. I'm really just not jiving with the prose, but the story I am really enjoying. It definitely has gripped me here in the second half of the book. I'm excited to see how it's all going to wrap up and what's going to happen to our boys. I only have a couple of hours left in the audiobook, so I'm hopeful that maybe I can get it done tonight. And if not tonight, definitely tomorrow morning while I'm getting ready. I will be taking the bike for the rest of the week to get to and from work, so that does cut down on my audiobook listening time because for some reason, I cannot listen to an audiobook while I am riding the bike. I think it's because my mind is so focused on everything around me. I mean, I can hear the words and I'll listen to the audiobook, I'll hear it, but no information is retained. So I usually just listen to music while I'm riding the bike. And don't get me wrong, I love riding the bike, especially when it's nice out, which this week is supposed to be so nice. Friday actually might be a little chilly. I have to get up so early to go to work, so I do have to usually ride the bike of a morning in the dark. So it has been a little chilly the last couple times, but I mean, it's supposed to get down into like the 50s on Friday. And for Florida, that is cold. So I'm gonna have to like bundle up Friday. But regardless, I should be able to check back in with you tomorrow with my final thoughts on this. And depending on how editing goes tonight and tomorrow, will determine whether I'll be able to fit another book in. We will see. So I'm going to go get my evening responsibilities out of the way. I have to do my workout, get dinner prepared, and then I'm going to edit and read tonight. And I will check back in with you tomorrow. Hi, it's Halloween Whitley again. I hope you had a fantastic Halloween since you are seeing this after Halloween, even though it is currently Halloween for me. Happy Halloween, friends. Okay, can I get a fit check? Am I in frame enough? I got my sword. I got my dagger. I got the ribbon because I'm a Valkyrie. Obviously, I graduated. I cut my ribbon. We have the ears. Not great ears, but they're ears. I'm ready for battle, friends. Not only did I get my bangs and my hair trimmed, but Sydney was an absolute doll and dyed it for me, so my roots and my grays are gone. Hallelujah. I think I might start professionally getting it done. I don't like how it just constantly fades, and professional hair dye may do that as well. But I would like to try to keep the color more consistent throughout the weeks because it drastically changes in the like 4 to 6 weeks. It starts super red when I dye it, and then like every week it just like goes down a whole notch. And by the end, and by the time I need to dye it again, it is a completely different color. So I would like to try to keep it like a little bit more consistent because I feel like if I were to do a vlog where I am not doing it straight in a week and I kind of like space it out a little bit, it's gonna look so weird because my hair is not gonna be the same color. But I don't know, that's just something I was thinking about. But it would also save Sydney the hassle of having to do it because he doesn't like doing it. He does it for me, but he doesn't like doing it. So I'll let you know if I decide to get it professionally done. It's been so long since I've got my hair professionally done. So maybe I'll treat myself. We do have a Halloween party tonight. I'm so excited. Obviously, as we spoke earlier, I am a Valkyrie. Honestly, nobody at this party is probably going to know what I am or who I am, but that's okay. If they just think I'm like Sydney said, a dominatrix, elf, ninja, that's okay. If they just think I am a fairy or an elf warrior, that's okay too. I don't really care. It makes me so happy. So it doesn't really matter. But before we go to the party, I wanted to come in and update you and close out the vlog because I did finish Something Wicked This Way Comes. And what a great ending. I really enjoyed that. Mr. Dark was such a good villain. Like he was honestly so ominous and menacing and so well done. The scene where he is playing hide and seek with the boys like had me so tense. My heart was racing. It was really well done. The resolution was very metaphorical, which does have me torn. I did like the message behind it, but I don't know, it just felt a little silly. Granted, this is a young adult that is kind of leaning towards middle grade in my opinion, so I mean, I have to give it a little leniency for that, but I don't know. Like I said, I liked the message behind how everything got resolved and how they ended up defeating the circus, but it just felt a little silly. It was giving like laughter is the best medicine, a smile a day keeps the doctor away, like those kind of vibes. And I'm not sure how I feel about it. I did manage to find some quotes for you that kind of showcase the strange writing style and like what is this man even talking about? So, and some of these, like if you think about them, like they make sense, but I don't know, just hearing them so often, like really was hard for me to picture what was happening. Okay, these are one-liners, and I truly don't know what they mean. So this says, he felt a great river change its bed in the sky. What? What are you talking about? What does that even mean? And then this one says, dust came and went in that dark, and a harp string gesticulation of spiders. A harp string gesticulation of spiders. Like, bro, what? And this one. Okay, so at dawn, a juggernaut of thunder wheeled over the stony heavens in a spark throwing tumult. Rain fell softly on town cupolas, chuckled from rainspouts, and spoke in strange subterranean tongues beneath the windows. Like, dude, just say it's raining. Okay, last one. So they ran in urine smell of shadow. They ran in clear ice smell of moon. The calliope steam throb whispered, tatted, trilled. I have no idea what this man is saying. When I wasn't confused at what he was trying to say and picture what he was trying to describe, I really enjoyed this whole story, this overarching plot. I really enjoyed the characters. I really liked the themes. So it really is a testament to how good everything else was because I struggled so much with the writing that I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. I am unsure if I would ever pick up another Ray Bradbury because I assume that most of his books are going to have this really like flowery, overdone prose, and that is just not for me. But then again, I loved this story. I loved our characters. I mean, I do see why this man gets so much praise, but I don't know. I just maybe I'm not smart enough for his writing. I could not. Oh, and it actually turns out this also never takes place during Halloween. It takes place the week before Halloween, which is actually when I read it. So that's pretty cool. I finished it a couple days ago. So I did actually read it like when it was taking place, but as far as the tally, this also did not take place on Halloween. So if your bet was one book out of three that actually take place on Halloween, cookie for you, you got it right. One book out of all three of these actually took place during Halloween, which is what I thought I was getting with all three of these, but shame on me for not doing more research. But hey, they all took place in October. They all had like the Halloween vibes, so I'm not mad. Except the one book that took place on Halloween I hated and wish I wouldn't have read, but can't win them all, I guess. I'm so sad that spooky season is over. I'm gonna have to take down all of my beautiful Halloween decorations. But before long, the Christmas decorations will come out, so I am so excited about that. And even though spooky season is over, that does not mean that autumn is over. So I am still excited to cozy up in November with some autumnal cozy reads, maybe some spooky reads. We'll see what November holds. But for now, I'm going to go to a Halloween party. I hope you had such an amazing Halloween. I hope you are loving what you are reading lately, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye, friends.